Alright, so we're going to take some notes on how to factor polynomials. You should pause the video when you need to get caught up. We're going to sort of go through the steps as we go through this example, so you should write down both the steps and the specific example. So step number one is to set up the generic rectangle. So you draw the rectangle, divide it into 4 pieces like normal, and then what we will know always is the piece with the x squared on it. So in our example, 2x squared. That's going to always go in the lower left-hand corner of our rectangle. And the piece with no x's is always going to go in the upper right-hand corner of our rectangle. So that will always be what's going on. And then basically what we're trying to decide is how to divide up these 5 x's to go into the upper left and lower right corners of the rectangle. So the x squared term always goes in the lower left. The constant term always goes in the upper right, and then we're going to work on the rest of it. And the next step, so remember to pause the video if you need to, but I'm going to move on to the next step. Next step is to set up a diamond problem, and we know that in the top of the diamond problem we put a product, and the product that we're going to put is what we get when we multiply these two things that we just drew in the rectangle together. So in our example, 2x squared times 3 is 6x squared. And so that is what goes in the top of the diamond problem. And then what goes in the bottom of the diamond problem is this middle term here that we didn't put in the rectangle yet. And so 5x is what goes in the bottom of the diamond problem. And so I'm now looking for things that multiply to give 6x squared and add up to 5x. And so step 3, as you can see, is to solve the diamond problem. And so I know in order to get those x's to show up, I know both sides of my diamonds are going to need an x. It's just a matter of what numbers go in front. And I need things that multiply to give 6 and add up to 5. And if you want to, you can just do a little scratch work off to the side here. And so what multiplies to 6? Well, 1 and 6, or 2 and 3. And I just pick out which pair add up to 5, and we see that that pair is 2 and 3. And so I've now solved the diamond problem, 2x and 3x, and that allows me to go on to step 4. And step 4 is I'm going to fill in the rectangle, and so I already had some parts of the rectangle filled in, right? And so you should already in your rectangle have 2x squared here and 3. And what the diamond problem's doing is these two numbers are telling me how to fill in the other 2 squares. And you can put them either place. It doesn't make any difference in the rectangle. And so I'm going to put 2x here and then 3x here. And so this rectangle matches up with what we'd started with. We have a 2x squared. We have 2x and 3x, which makes 5x, and then we have a plus 3. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sort of work backwards and figure out what the outsides of the rectangle are. And so that's step 5, figure out the outsides. And to do that, we sort of look and see what things sort of have in common. And so when I look at these two, I see that they both have a 3. And so it makes sense to put a 3 here. And when I look at these two, I see that they both have a 2 and they both have an x. And once I see that, then I can sort of figure out how to fill in the rest. If this corner is going to be 3x, and I've already got a 3 here, then this needs to be an x. And that's good because x times 2x is 2x squared. And then if this is 2x, and I want to get a 2x up here, then just needs to be a 1. And so just do a quick double check and make sure all 4 corners work out. Down here. In this one, we've got, oops, that looks like an X. I don't want to do that. I just want to show you that that's the one I'm looking at. And so down in the lower left, I get 2x times 2x is 2x squared. Upper left, 1 times 2x is 2x. Upper right, 1 times 3 is 3. And lower right, x times 3 is 3x. So it all checks out. And now to finish the problem, I just need to write the area as a product. And so if you remember my two sides here, I have an x plus 1. Whoops. I have an x plus 1, and so that's going to be one of my factors, x plus 1. And then my other factor is going to be 2x plus 3. And so what I've done now is I've successfully taken my original problem. Remember what my original problem looks like. It looks like 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. And I've rewritten it in this new way, and this new way is going to be really useful to us as we use these quadratic functions. So we've now written it in what's called the factored form. So you can stop the video, make sure you got your notes complete, and then you can move on to the second video where there's going to be a practice problem, and then we'll go through the answers to that.